now. All right, welcome to Open Caller. I am Corey Bullis with Shell Sheth and with a flute up his nose, Ryan Carpenter. Ryan, I think with like no camera, you seem like you're a correspondent on the phone, live from the field. We have a man on the street, Ryan.
In some hurricane.
That's raining sideways.
Ryan, are the hostages safe?
It's like the didn't they used to do that on Whose Line Is It Anyways? Where they
Yeah.
had, like the newscaster.
We have Colin Mockery in the field. Colin.
Yeah. I wish I was that witty on the spot.
Johnny on the spot. Have you watched any of the like Aisha Tyler Whose Line Is It Anyway episodes?
No.
No, man.
Yeah, come on.
It died with Drew. It is very much what you'd expect Whose Line to be in the 21st century.
Oh, that sucks.
So like they do stuff, but they don't do what made it great. Like so there's no like Wayne pretending he's a woman now. In like the sketches, you know? Doing like the stereotype
What's the point?
flamboyantness.
Then?
Yeah, what's the point if a man can't pretend he's a woman?
Yeah.
Pass.
Plus, you know, Ryan and Colin are super old, and they look it.
Really? I mean, I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, it's been
Oh, look at what Colin
20
Mockery's
years.
what? Yeah, they're like, I'm sure they're in their 60s.
Yeah, Ryan Stiles is 61.
Came up with that really quick.
I did.
Just
Ryan's just stalking.
what do you mean? You
Colin
guys don't know
Mockery
Ryan
says.
Stiles' birthday offhand?
Do you not?
I thought it was common knowledge at this point.
It's like circled on Ryan's calendar.
Colin Mockery is 63.
Well, he looks older.
It's the baldness and the
Yeah.
long hair.
That's fair.
I can't believe that we all still watch or still remember the simpler times of improv comedy.
That was
Still find it funny that Whoopi Goldberg was on there.
It was a better time. That's for sure.
So what is with the Clive Owen this time?
Oh, I just
We had-
brought
we-
back memories. I needed a new avatar, and I was like, time to bring him back.
We had Tom Selleck, Magnum, the inanimate carbon rod.
The Charizard
No,
Pokemon card.
Yes.
Don't forget about that.
Oh, can't forget that. Even though I know absolutely nothing about Pokemon.
Well, we know that some card is worth $100,000 or however much it was.
That's what we
that was
learned
quite the left turn, eh? During a hockey conversation. Oh, by the by.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did we get there again?
He was talking about like
cards coming back
cards. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
because of the pandemic.
Oh, everything because the
Though
pandemic.
if you watch the news today locally, maps are coming back. There's a whole map store they were hawking on the news.
Like on CTV?
Yeah. This guy sells maps and globes and
But why? We can't go anywhere, and if we could, we would take our phone with us.
Yeah.
you need to go to this location and buy a framed map.
Oh, like a framed map.
Well,
Not something that you would take with you. Something that you would like capture an area that is meaningful to you and be like,
Or
I would
like
like to see
a map of Middle Earth.
Couldn't you just print
Yeah,
it off and frame it?
Yeah, I feel like that's just like
I don't
map of fictional areas have been like around, I guess. Like that would just be a thing you find on like ThinkGeek or whatever. I wouldn't go to my local map store and be like, hey, you guys got Middle Earth? I'm thinking third age, second age if you have it, but if I could get the third age.
Phil's maps down on Bleecker.
Yeah.
Well, let me put it to you this way: you are downtown, a place you don't know. Your
Right.
phone just died, and you notice that you're not inside a map at this moment. What do you
Nope.
do?
I would probably think of literally going anywhere and charging my phone before I think of going to a map store. Also, like phones just don't die as often as they used to.
Well, if you have an older generation Apple device, they will force it to die faster.
No. It's
That's the conspiracy, Michelle.
false.
That's what Battery Gate's all about.
Oh, I know. It's not though. that's
Wait a
not
second.
that's actually the opposite of what Batterygate is about.
Now just hold on a minute, pal.
Wait a ticket.
Just saying, you need your maps.
I don't think I need a map guy in 2021.
Does anyone remember when that died, like officially? Because I have a clear memory of having to go to the police station to get a criminal police check for my city job at the time, and that was not that long ago. And I had MapQuest, the directions
the
printed
printout.
off.
Yeah, the print off of MapQuest.
And then now it's just pop the phone on the display and
Even I would
turn
say
left.
even like 15 years ago, we would have been printing off, MapQuest directions or like I mean, let's see, iPhone came out in 2007. People had phones before then, but even like, I mean, Corey, I'm sure you remember using BlackBerry Maps. Like it was fine,
Yeah.
but like pretty terrible. But I guess I can't remember when I stopped using like something like MapQuest and started using like Google Maps or something.
I wonder if it's when Google Maps became a thing.
It
and then
must
just
have been, but, like-
everyone's reliance on Google for everything is just you shift it over.
How old is Google Maps, Ryan, now that you're so good with ages?
That should also be on your calendar.
Oh god. Okay, well we can hear that.
I don't have the answer. I don't have the answer.
It
It was such frantic typing, it sounded
Yeah.
fake.
15 years.
It's 2005,
Yeah.
February 8th, 2005.
Yeah.
That's when it launched. So yeah, I would say around the time that like the iPhone 3G, I'd say like 2009, 2010, people were
got
just like,
legit data plans.
yeah, or like we're done. We are over paper maps.
I don't know.
Just some guy
There's something-
throwing his map on the ground and stomping on it.
Yeah.
I don't need you anymore, MapQuest. We're done. I have digital now.
Also, like that was a terrible. It was a good solution at the time, but like it was pretty terrible. It gave you your directions, right? I'll turn right here, do this, whatever. But like if you actually didn't know the city at all that you were going to or passing through, missing a turn, sometimes it wasn't always easy to get back to that spot. Or missing an exit. If you missed an exit off the highway and you had to go to the next one,
Yeah, you're SOL.
yeah, like what are you gonna you're gonna take the next exit, go back on the highway, get back to the go 2 exits back or whatever, and
Anarchy.
Yeah.
yeah, like or no, I guess you would just take the exit. But yeah, it's like if you didn't have those directions, like not even memorized, but you would have to just make sure you never missed it.
Yeah, your reliance is on A, to have somebody with you,
Yeah,
or B,
like study the
you memorize it.
and then
Just
just
wonder how many-
look for references.
How many traffic accidents where the cop gets out and just takes his hat off? It's another MapQuest.
Yeah.
fatality. Damn you, MapQuest.
When will they learn?
When will they-
There has to be a better way.
yeah.
As he's wearing his shower pants.
Black and white accident. There has to be a better way.
Is this you? Are you a local sheriff who's dealing with his 14th fatality this year?
Oh God.
Related to the dreaded MapQuest? Surprised you didn't hear like a lawyer pitch at a commercial. As you or someone you know been have a relation to a MapQuest fatality?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like that would have been like the distracted driving
The
Absolutely.
OG of distracted
OG.
driving.
next to the eating, which I have heard cops say that it's not distracted driving. It is, but it's not because they're.
I don't know.
They say it is, and they also say that it's not. It is. They say it can be considered distracted driving. However, there's no like statute or law that says that it is. I think it's because drive-throughs are legal.
I think it must depend. Like there has to be. It can't be a like black and white rule like eating versus not eating, but like eating a granola bar versus eating
A
like
steak dinner.
yeah,
You're like
or
cutting into it.
yeah. Then again, you could be just super fancy and like cutting into your Mars bar. So
Unless
like,
you're eating the steak like an animal, just
yeah.
ripping pieces
But
off.
I mean, yeah, like a handheld like granola bar or apple or something like that versus something that can get messy like a burrito where you're like maybe potentially paying attention to what's falling all over the place. I think there's different levels. I could, if there's something that you could eat with your eyes closed, I would say that's, you could also drive with it.
Ooh, that's a good rule of thumb. We might be onto something here.
I think that's as long as you're not trying to drive with your eyes closed and eating it.
Or if it's a meal you don't require two hands, then you get to the gray area of a hamburger.
Yeah, but even a hamburger, you're unlikely to do very well with it eating it with your eyes closed.
Or one hand. If it's a Big Mac or other ones.
I have a strong urge now to like delicately eat a Mars bar.
Like in Seinfeld.
Like with
Just
a
take
fork
your
and
time.
knife. Fork
Delicately like
fork and knife. Like
yeah,
really-
it's like a fancy.
yeah.
How do you eat it?
Like-
With your hands?
Like an animal? Does a chocolate covered granola bar make it a chocolate bar?
Sure.
I used to get, my mom always used to pack me a chocolate covered caramel filled granola bar. Like that was supposed to be a part of a nutritious lunch.
Isn't the filled part of a granola bar the granola?
No,
Yeah,
there's
also,
the
like, caramel
dips,
in
the
there.
Quaker Oats dips, whatever. So
Yeah,
it's,
but that was just like a granola bar that was dipped in chocolate or whatever. But like, it's
Yeah,
not.
it was still granola. Like the essence.
But then
it's
there
like
was like
you have the
infused
granola bar.
with caramel.
yeah, there's like a
and
layer of
chocolate.
caramel. Yeah.
What? That's amazing.
It's still good, but it's not healthy
Oh, no.
for a child to eat.
I mean, even now the
It's fine. You're getting your fruit with the gushers.
wash it down with some. some
Thank God I got this bag of So Delicious here.
A whole bag of soda? Right. Come on.
Because soda wasn't unhealthy enough. They had to find a way to
Yeah.
And you got your Dunkaroos. There's your milk.
Yeah. Oh man, I'd still have Dunkaroos.
2 weeks in a row we're talking about Dunkaroos.
Yeah. I don't know, guys.
I believe they're a sponsor.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah,
Dunkaroos presents Open Collar.
Dunkaroos, if you're listening,
Send some samples.
yeah, we'll sell it in a heartbeat.
And yeah, so anyone who is listening to this, please email ceo@dunkaroos.com and tell them about us.
Tell him Itchy sent you. Do you guys remember milk tickets
No.
I can't say I do.
in school? Where you get tickets for like your hot dog days or your pizza days? You get tickets to redeem for milk.
No, we had ours like ours would just be like within the order. Like you just order X amount of hot dogs and Y milk. Some people got more than one milk, okay?
Why?
Just imagine
Bill?
the form. All right, so we're getting 2 slices of pizza, 2 hot dogs, milk, Y. I guess
I
he's
guess.
asking you if he needs it or not. You could write back if you want.
Solve for Y. Wait a second, they're trying to make us learn things.
I just want my hot dogs.
Those hot dogs are always the best. They're always wrapped in tinfoil.
That's how you know they're good.
Arguably in someone's pocket previously. You don't know.
Yeah, just things of Coke, hot dogs. If it's wrapped in tinfoil, you know it's good.
I always used to see the person like making the hot dogs, just making like literally 300 hot dogs for the whole school. Imagine if that was your morning.
Oh, once you've seen the hot dog get made.
You know what? I saw at a very early age how the hot dogs got made, and I kept eating them. I didn't know the lesson to be learned.
Oh man.
Yeah, well, usually it's a parent, right? So like he could have been,
I don't.
Steve's mom.
That's just like. Don't you have something else to do besides make 300 hot dogs the entire morning?
No, that's why
No,
she's there.
Poor Steve's mom.
She has not got it going on.
Or Stacy's mom.
I'd watch that.
Okay, so before we also have another guest this evening,
Whoop,
before
whoop.
he hops on, I saw this little gem on the Instagram today. Florida man, 37, arrested for kidnapping 27 people and forcing them to play Yahtzee for 36 hours straight. Look at that mug. Does not look like
But
Ryan's new best friend.
but
You know how we all feel about Yahtzee.
Florida man never disappoints.
I know. I saw a tweet
Which-
earlier that was like, "Can we just start referring to Donald Trump as Florida man?"
Which led me down another rabbit hole of I actually found a game that we can do quickly before Steve hops on.
I hope it's not Yahtzee.
No, it's Florida man, true or false.
Ooh,
So I have headlines of articles that may or may not be actual Florida stories.
100%. These are all true. Before even hearing them, I'm gonna just go with true.
Woman wears won't be caught T-shirt while robbing store. Is this a Florida headline or not a Florida headline?
Wait, hold on. Can it? Is this going to be a trick question? Like, it's not a Florida headline; it's a Wisconsin headline.
These are legit headlines. If they're not from Florida, they didn't happen.
yeah. So it's whether it's from Florida or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna say no. This is.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with no on that one.
I'm gonna say this is not a Florida crime.
Crime.
It did indeed happen
In Florida?
in Florida.
Damn.
Some kind of
Knife wielding man tries to get imaginary girlfriend from garbage truck, deputies say.
Oh, that sounds like an LA thing.
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna double down on the no.
This is a true headline.
What?
Story says, amazingly, that story also involves pepper spray and crack cocaine.
Also Florida.
I mean,
Oh my god. I'm giving Florida so much credit here, and I'm
You
not
are.
rewarded.
it's not too far of a leap to say that crack cocaine was involved in that story.
No,
Like,
it's definitely part of it. Police. Women intentionally defecated in cruiser after arrest.
I want to say yes.
I know. I'm gonna go with no.
I'm gonna
again.
go with no.
It's like when you're doing like a test in school and you're like, they wouldn't put 3 trues in a row.
It's got to be C
It's got to be a
eventually.
trapped.
A, B, or C, all of the above?
Yeah.
That is a Florida headline.
Oh my
What
God.
is
Corey,
this?
you're killing me here.
Officers politely pointed out that the woman was politely noted that the woman was found in the backseat creating biohazard waste. Bank robber attempts getaway in motorboat with broken motor.
See,
Still
that-
attempts
that
to paddle
does
away
sound-
from cops.
That does sound like a Florida one.
So bank robber attempts getaway in motorboat with broken motor. Still attempts to paddle away from cops.
I'm gonna
Okay.
say yes.
I'm gonna say no just so that one of us is right.
That is a fake headline.
Yay!
Ah,
Shoplifter stuffs chainsaw down his pants.
yes to Florida.
Oh, I mean, that could happen anywhere.
Yes. No. Florida.
Well done. I would like to play the Wicked Wango card. Yeah, I'll say. I'm gonna go with no again.
That is unfortunate, Michelle, because it is a Florida headline.
Yes. I got one.
Also,
One,
almost
one.
as impressive. Notes here. Also as impressive is that he actually made it out of the store before being caught.
What? How?
Doesn't matter.
I
Doesn't matter. All right, last one. Man calls 911 to ask for help finding his remote.
I'm gonna say no.
damn it.
No, it's tough.
I'll say that. I'll say yes, Florida.
That is a fake headline.
Uh,
Although it did happen in Florida, but it was for a man who called
I was
to
gonna say.
report problems with his PlayStation.
Should have known.
And that is Florida man, true or false?
We need like a soundboard for that. Florida man.
True or false?
I just feel as though it would be like the Deliverance banjo with some like Kid Rock in there too.
Might as well throw some Kevin Federline in.
All right. So we're going to switch gears and talk a little bit of comic book related news with our guest, Mr. Steve McCoy. He's going to drop some comic knowledge on us.
How's it going, everyone?
Hey.
Fantastic.
Good.
How are you doing?
you?
Fantastic. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I'll always talk comic books. Every day.
Well, that's how you and I got acquainted with the
That's right.
Senators, was over our plethora of comic book love. As I can see, you have a collection of statues and figures and such behind you.
Some Marvel Legends. This is my new office, of course, given the pandemic that we're living in. So I switched up my office to include also comic books and Marvel Legend action figures and even some old school toys that I had from my childhood. Do you remember the Superpower toys? The DC Superpower toys? No?
Vaguely.
Vaguely. They looked like this.
Oh, then yes. Maybe that's just the name that threw me.
I have them up there. But yeah, it feels like many moons ago, Corey, that we'd worked together. But yes, that's what brought us together in our love for comics and the medium.
Do you recall like the first comic that you
I
got your
do.
hands on?
I do. It was Flash 214, I believe, 214 or 234, and it was a comic that was provided to me by my cousin, and I ended up reading that comic. Oh God, 100 times over, and it was a great cover because it was Barry Allen. Before Crisis, Barry, and he was holding up his Flash costume and he was holding up Captain Cold's costume, and he couldn't decide who he was going to be that day. Was he going to be a bad guy? Was he going to be a good guy? And obviously me as a young kid didn't know what to expect. I thought maybe he was double dipping. And yeah, it turned out that he was just mind manipulated. And yeah, that's the first comic that I read.
The classic mind manipulation.
That's right.
If it's not in comics, it's in soap operas. I'm at home, so that is what I watch a lot of with the wife who's also at home. She controls the TV.
How in depth is your soap opera knowledge on a scale of 1 to 10? You think?
Right now?
Sure. I mean, in the past, I'll compare it to the past. Sure.
Yeah. Pre-pandemic to post-pandemic.
I would say next to 0. Now it's even at 1. I'm just embarrassed by. You still have that comic, eh? I think you posted a picture of.
I did, yeah. So the one that I had was in rough shape.
Yeah.
So I gave it to my son. I think it was graded at like a 2.0 or 3.0. And about a year ago, I decided, you know what? I'm going to try and upgrade that comic. And the best that I could find with the budget that I had was a 6.0. So it's a little bit better. But my ultimate goal is to get it closer to a 9, between a 9 and a 10. And maybe slap it. I don't know. We'll see.
Were you collecting even from a kid? Like up now, or just
yeah, I'd say so.
Some?
I'd say so. I was into comics, and obviously, didn't have the money that I do now to buy them when I was a kid. So I relied heavily on getting them as just random gifts of kindness from my folks, or saving up money from allowance and whatnot. And when I got into high school, I took a keen interest in the fair sex and kind of dropped comics altogether. And
Boo.
Yeah,
I think that is what damages everybody's collection.
What a
That's right.
terrible choice.
That's right. And then I ended up getting back into it when I was about 20, and have been into it ever since. And that's 20 years ago. So 20 years of straight collecting, which is awesome. Do you guys read regularly, or?
Yeah, I try my best to keep up.
Yeah, not regularly, but I mean, growing up, it was definitely a much bigger part of my life. I mean, that's how I got into Spider-Man and like Marvel in general. But that's actually one of the things I wanted to ask you was, like, how would someone now, when, I don't know how easy it is to get your hands on comics, like actual physical comic books now, and because now they're so like readily available digitally. What's the best way to get into comic books now? Like, would it still, because it used to be you go down to your local comic book store.
It still is.
Yeah, but like there's just fewer and fewer of them.
Yeah, like the brick and mortar stores, I think are definitely not as abundant as they once were. Personally, I'm a paper guy. I prefer reading them like traditionally than I do digitally. But I think for the benefit of the digital side, I would say, is that you can have a massive collection on such a small tablet or computer or whatnot, whereas like my collection's close to 10,000 comics, and it's taken up a majority of the basement. So you can condense it, but it's still the same price. And I would say for anyone that's interested in getting into comics, I would first ask yourself, who's your favorite character, and maybe start off reading that character's title or looking at key stories for that character. And then from there, you will start to recognize writers' names and artists' names, and maybe a certain artist you'll gravitate to just because of their style, and then you might follow them on different books that they write. But I would keep it simple, and I would say don't complicate it, because if you do, you'll get into the weeds, and there's so many different storylines, and continuities always get reset. I think DC is just doing one right now in terms of resetting their continuity. So don't get too granular and in the weeds. Just keep it simple. Who's your favorite character, and start there. Yeah,
it was one of those things. Like, I mean, like I say, Spider-Man's my favorite character, but there are so many different Spider-Men, right? So like, even obviously finding the like older versions of Spider-Man, like Amazing Fantasy or whatever, they're obviously very hard to find physically. So even getting them digitally, it's a good start. But then you're like, oh, I'm like 2 million comics behind. Like, where it is right now. So, it's pretty much like, you pick your timeline, I guess, or your reset, and just start from there.
Yeah. And I would say that for Marvel, I would probably recommend if you were all in on Marvel and wanted to get, is well educated in what's going on over the last decade or so, I'd say probably your best bet would be to start with Avengers Disassembled, which is written by Brian Michael Bendis, probably around 2004 or so, because that ultimately set up the landscape of Marvel for the next 10-15 years, and you're kind of still seeing that somewhat in the stories today. So that's really the starting point, because from there then you had House of M, and then you had Secret Invasion. You had all these major story events that were all connected from one another to the next. So yeah,
and that's what we'll be probably seeing soon in, well, whenever movies start up again. Who knows when that'll be.
I know. It was nice to see some shows though, with WandaVision coming out. What do you guys think? Have you seen it?
I still haven't watched it yet. I keep wanting to, and then other stuff comes up. But well, as I said, the last 2 nights, I'll probably watch it tonight.
Nice.
See what happens after we close out this podcast.
I watched the first 2 episodes, and as someone who grew up watching like the Dick Van Dyke Show and Bewitched, I was all in on that. If they just did 6 episodes of straight up serious homage to old sitcoms, I was in on it. So I don't know where it's going. You're probably more adverse to advise as to where you think it's gonna go.
I have some theories. But I don't want to give away too much, because Vishal, you haven't seen it, and I would say though it was very charming, the first 2 episodes, and the fact that it really heavily leaned into sitcoms of old, with Bewitched, and the first episode, I think it was more tied to like I Love Lucy perhaps, but it was awesome. But theories, I don't know. Like there's so many things that I'm thinking about. Like, is House of M involved? And I feel like it has to be involved because of that storyline where Wanda basically rewrote reality. And so I don't want to, I don't want to get into it without spoiling it too much, but I feel that that's definitely involved. I would also say that, maybe. So the one thing I'll mention is that when Wanda first came out, or was first introduced in Age of Ultron, she had a very thick Sarkovian accent, and I feel like it's non-existent in the first 2 episodes,
right?
Which I found funny, but then maybe it's by design, because if this is not proper reality, maybe that's kind of a hint in that it's not really the reality that we know as the MCU, and maybe that accent that the accent that she doesn't have is kind of an Easter egg to that.
Well, her accent was kind of all over the place in the MCU, like in the
sure.
movies as well.
Like
it was always jarring hearing it, and then like the next sentence.
I just chalked it up to as in like, especially with Infinity War, that she was kind of on the run, right?
Yeah,
maybe it's just like you're on the run, you're pretending that you're somebody else, that maybe you're just don't have a accent, you're more Americanized.
That's true.
Yeah, and we watched a little bit of Endgame last night, and there was a few scenes where the accent was just on display, and then others where it wasn't. But then maybe Marvel doesn't want Elizabeth Olsen to speak in the thick accent for 9 episodes straight. Who knows? But I don't think it's that. But I would say, she was created in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. She was created using the Mind Stone, like Baron Strucker had created her with the Mind Stone, her and Pietro, her brother. And Vision was also created with the Mind Stone. So there's that connection there. And so maybe she's using her powers to awake him temporarily to somehow live what she feels is a normal life, even though she can't, because he's no longer with us. So.
Given how ingrained you are with the comics, these big changes in the adaptations, like you would use Vision as an example, not coming from Hank Pym, but being as a result of Banner and Stark. Does that irk you as a son? Or?
No.
It's just, I guess it's like another. It's like the New 52 in Rebirth, right? It's just another continuity that they're working on.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, the fact that we're even seeing characters like this on the big screen, like I would have never in a million years, if you were to ask me 15, 20 years ago, hey, you know what, Thanos is going to be massive. Everyone's going to know who he is. Everyone's going to love him. Everyone's going to love Groot. I would say you're crazy. So I'm okay. I don't get too disappointed with the finer details of that if it means that we get to see some stories on the big screen and some good ones at that. I don't feel that it bothers me at all. What about yourself?
Somebody like Batman and make him kill people just because he wants to. Does that irk you at all either?
No, but he killed people. Michael Keaton killed people in the first Batman.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
You know, like so it's happened. I mean, it wasn't as I guess focused on maybe
Straightforward in the new one versus like residual death
branding like, of people, and I don't know. Batman doesn't kill, so even in the Keaton ones, especially in Batman Returns, where he straps a bomb to somebody and then smiles as he punches him in the face.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
Yeah, you would say that guy would have a hard time living after that happened.
So back to Michelle's thing about starting comics, is it necessary to start at 1 or just pick up and then go back, do you think? Because every time I read,
meaning like, are you talking about like
issue 1? Yeah, issue 1. So like when I got back into comics, I started with the New 52, and then I read Batman 1, all of Scott Snyder's run, and then I was reading a lot of like the Flash, and I overextended myself, so I just went back to just sticking with Detective Comics and then Batman until I finished those runs.
Yeah,
and then I started picking up other stuff midway through, especially with Spider-Man, and not knowing from 1 to whatever issue was. I think it was, they renumbered, so they were like in the 2s or 3s or something at the time, if it was worth going back or not. Because I know like Stanley always said everyone's comic is their first comic, right? So there's a lot of telling you to go to this issue or go to this issue. So is it a necessary thing to start at 1 or just pick a point and...
No, I think you're given more of an option to pick a point because there's creative teams that jump on and jump off of books all the time. Like you mentioned Snyder and Capullo, like they just basically finished their Batman swan song with Death Metal, with Dark Knight's Death Metal. So then new creative team is going to come on, and so I think you're given that opportunity to jump on at that point because this new creative team will have a fresh take or a fresh idea or a fresh storyline to have with the character. But starting at 1, I mean, it depends on how much time you have and how many titles you read too. Like there's some weeks where I go to the shop and I feel like I'm reading every single title that's sold that week. And so I would never even think about starting something from scratch. But then there's other weeks where I don't have anything, many titles on the pull list that week, so I can pick some up. But I would say it's really up to you. Personally, though, I would say just, if there's a creative team that you are aware of, that you enjoy, start with them. Save some money, too. Don't need to go all the way back to issue 1.
Well, especially if the first or second issues or whatever are super expensive and you're not able to read those on a budget, then why not, right?
That's right. I would say, though, like you're seeing, comics from days gone by are more expensive simply because the print run was tremendously lower than what they are now. That's why you see the value of them so high. Whereas, from the last 20 years or so, like you can go back and you can find issue 1s relatively at a fair price. You start getting into variant covers and whatnot, and then it starts to get pretty expensive. But yeah, to go back to like the 60s and read like X-Men #1 or Daredevil #1, like no, it's unless you're getting that digital or you're buying a chewed up issue, like you're going to be spending a ton of money.
Yeah, I read all the IDW runs of Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
and like you said, like the digital copies, like the first 10 pages are just variant covers.
Yeah,
and a lot of Eastman sketches. I know when we were working together, The Walking Dead was very prevalent. I know you were for that one. You read a lot of trade paperbacks, which those uninitiated are the ones where they're graphic novels where they take multiple issues and package them together. Is that still something that you should really?
Yeah, no, it is. So there's certain titles that, like Walking Dead was perfect, where I only read it in trades because it was such an entertaining series that I couldn't wait a month. Like I couldn't read 22 pages and wait a month and, you know, buy the next issue and whatnot. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna wait until the trade comes out. I'll bang off like 6 issues in a row, and then I'll be good to go for a little while. But it's certainly still something that is popular, and probably again going back to that space thing. If people want to, you can buy nice collected editions now, and you can have a bookcase, and it can be bound, and you can have them very nice and aesthetically pleasing, as opposed to having long boxes and short boxes. Is that Long Halloween?
Long Halloween, yeah.
Yeah.
Get that, and the Sin Cities are all the
Yeah.
trades.
Yeah. So Walking Dead, Sin City, 100 Bullets too was another one that that I read in trade. But yeah, it's certainly still popular too. But those collected editions, like the Marvel Masterpieces and omnibuses and whatnot, like they're really for those true collectors, because there's also additional content that come with it, forwards, concept art, that kind of thing, interviews with the writing creative team. So what was that? I didn't see that. Oh, the Essentials.
Yeah.
It's
not as fun because they're all black and white.
Mm-hmm.
But
you can color
still,
them in yourself.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I got a 5-year-old. He'll love that. He knows what color.
Spider-Man is green.
Today he is.
That's right. That's right.
So back to some Marvel stuff. I'll bring up the screen here. So what are these projects you're most excited for? We got Moon Knight, Secret Invasion,
Yeah.
all that fun stuff.
Secret Invasion and Fantastic Four. Hands down. Hands down. Secret Invasion was a great storyline. Without giving too much away, these Skrulls were involved with Secret Invasion. They've already been introduced into the MCU. I think it's better that it's on Disney Plus, because you can't flush out that story within a 2-hour movie. So they would need to do the series approach, where they could have multiple episodes and really dive into it. But I'm looking forward to that. And then Fantastic Four, which I think the worst kept secret of John Krasinski playing Reed Richards is inevitable.
He's like, what a perfect casting though.
Yeah.
For that. I absolutely I'm on the same page with you. I'm like, I can't wait for a good Fantastic Four movie finally.
Yep. And maybe that carrot to dangle in front. Yeah, maybe that carrot to dangle in front of him is he's a director too. Like he directed A Quiet Place and the sequel to it. So maybe they might say, you know what, come and sign and do like a 3 or 5 movie deal, and we'll let you direct, maybe the first 2 with an option for the third if it's that popular. But the reason why I'm so intrigued with the Fantastic Four is that I feel that the next 2 big threats, I guess, for the universe would be Kang and Galactus, and you can't have Galactus without the Fantastic Four. So I would say that those are my top 2. What about you guys? What are you guys looking forward to the most?
Well, I'm curious now, because there is that rumor about Chris Evans coming back, if that plays into Secret Invasion.
Yep.
So he's back, but he's not really back.
But then, that's the thing. He tweeted, didn't he? He was like, news to me. So is he just trolling his own news, or?
Oh yeah.
You think
absolutely.
Up that paycheck.
Yeah. He's not going to turn that down.
No, I'd be silly too.
Yeah, like for me, it's Fantastic Four, but I'm really excited about also in when it comes to MCU, I knew most of the stories kind of going in, or at least most of the characters and stuff, until we got to Guardians of the Galaxy, and then I was like, literally never even picked up a Guardians comic in my life. I have no idea what's going on, and that was one of the first movies in a really long time that I was going in just completely blind. Just absolutely no idea what could happen or should happen or whatever, and it ended up being one of my favorite movies of the entire Infinity Saga. And at that point, it was just one of those things where Marvel knew they could pretty much put any character into a movie, and it was just gold. And that's when like I started wanting more kind of movies, or in this case TV shows and series and stuff like that, about characters that I really didn't know anything about, because like it's so, I don't know, like it seems like everything now, it's like you're going in because you know that they're just going to rehash something you already like every Star Wars movie. You're like, you pretty much know what's going to happen because it already
You know the
happened.
character.
Yeah. And so like going in that list, I'm like, I pretty much, other than Thor was up there, but I don't really know the story. There's Groot, which I'm like, cool, he's super cute, but I don't know his story.
Mhm.
But really, it's like the only story I kind of know is Fantastic Four. And I don't know what direction they're going in for this movie, but at least I know the characters, I know their relationships with each other and with the bad guys and stuff like that. But every other like show or movie on that list, I'm like pretty much going to be going in blind, and I'm really excited about that.
Yeah. And you make a good point with Guardians of the Galaxy, because when that came out, I think that was, and I think even people from Marvel or even critics would say like that was probably Marvel's biggest risk. They had 6 years of successful films under their belt. This movie comes out or is coming out. No one knows who they are unless you're familiar with the comics. And it was either going to tank or it was going to take off. And unfortunately, it did take off. The soundtrack,
Yeah, that
helped as well, and the comedic approach to it. But I think after that, they were given multiple mulligans with their movies, and I don't think they've had to use any yet, because I would say maybe the next one after that would have been the Ant-Man.
Yeah,
movie, and
but even that was, they took it in a
funny.
direction of a
Yeah.
comedy that kind of sort of had some superhero stuff sometimes, maybe.
And to your point on the last episode, if Wonder Woman had only taken the James Gunn approach for their soundtrack, it could have been a completely different movie.
Oh my god, it could have been
Completely different movie.
Did you like
Yeah.
Wonder Woman, or?
I liked it. I enjoyed it, but okay, so it was one of I like
It's
it.
Damn rock. It's like they created rules for that rock, but then didn't follow them for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, and I stopped. The movie had ended, and I was like, I really enjoyed that. But then the more I thought about it, the more I started to nitpick, to the point now where, like the whole '80s, leaning into the '80s and not doing it, just blew my mind. Like, it's Wonder Woman 1984, and they're literally, you had New Order in the trailer, like the Blue Monday kind of remix, and I was like, oh my god, like, yes, I'm all in if they have a soundtrack like this, because 80s music, I love 80s music, and there was hardly anything. And it just
there was that one Frankie Goes to Hollywood song.
Yeah,
Like,
for a movie that was like
could've-
trying to stay entrenched in the 80s,
They
like
could have made a killer soundtrack.
absolutely could have.
even the score, because like we said, Stranger Things season 3, like the score is infused with synth and all that stuff.
Yep.
And it's not like they didn't know that, like so many other things have done it well. And unless they were just thinking, well, we don't want to do it like everyone else, except, when everyone else is doing it in a way that works, like it's not the worst thing to copy.
Yeah, no. And apparently they'd fast-tracked the third movie so quickly after the release. Maybe they were trying to get ahead of it, because maybe they didn't realize that the revenue or the ratings wouldn't be as good as they had hoped originally. But anyway, that was our DC movie talk. Yeah, and I'm also looking forward to the Doctor Strange. What is it? The Multiverse of Madness, or the Madness of the Multiverse. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's gonna tie right into WandaVision.
Yeah, and then the third Spider-Man. Although the one thing that kind of irks me about that is they basically, and this person's in it, and this person's in it, and this person's reprising the role. And think about the impact if they had just shut up and they had not said anything to the best of their ability, because obviously things leak. If you could imagine that they did not let any of that out, and then you're in the movie theater, and then Toby shows up, and then Andrew shows up, and then
Andrew Molina,
thank God, yeah, like, or Alfred Molina, like all these people show up, and it just would have blown everyone's mind. And I think it'll still have a good impact, but I was a little bit
I
disappointed.
feel like knowing, like when you know that certain people are going to be there or certain characters are coming back or whatever, you kind of sometimes like stop watching the movie while you're waiting for, maybe this is the time when so and so shows up. Oh, this is probably when so and so shows up, and it's like you're less focused on what's actually going on in the movie. You're more just thinking about when's Toby showing up? When's
the next Easter
when
egg?
is his scene?
Yeah.
Kind of like it was like you were saying, obviously trailers have to show off, some good parts of the movie, but they don't have to show off everything. And the Thor Ragnarok trailer showing off the scene where Hulk comes out, like they didn't need to throw that in there, and if they hadn't, that would have been such an amazing and fun reveal in the theater.
I agree.
But since it was in like every single trailer other than one of them, I think, like you knew it was happening. So as soon as Thor gets into that Coliseum arena thing, you're like, oh, this is going to be the scene, or like this is where this happens. And it wasn't as impactful as if you hadn't seen that before, and then Hulk all of a sudden shows up. And same with this stuff. Like if you don't know that all these characters are coming back, and then one of them just kind of does,
how amazing would that be?
That would have been amazing. Well, it was just like I mean, pretty much exactly how I felt when at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, when we got J. Jonah Jameson. I think I I don't think I even knew that he was going to be in the movie at all. But then when he was there, I like pretty much missed what he said the first time I saw it because I was so excited to just see him on the screen.
Yeah. Do you guys watch like every trailer that comes out for a movie, or do you try and like limit it?
I usually only watch the first one.
Yeah, I usually watch the teaser that comes out like a year beforehand, and then I try and avoid the rest of them as much as I can. It's a lot easier now that I'm not going to see movies in the theater because it's hard to avoid them when they're just like playing, kind of beforehand.
Sorry, in the what? In the theater?
the theater?
Theater? What are those?
Yeah. But yeah, I usually, because I'm, I still get hyped up for movies and stuff. So yeah, the first teaser that comes up usually at a Comic-Con or something like that, I'm like, yes, I'm really excited. And then just as much as I can, I try and avoid them. But it's like sometimes it's just too hard in
well, especially with social media, like you can try and avoid like the Mandalorian. I'm not caught up, and I was trying to avoid because I knew something big happened at the end of season 2, and I was dodging that bullet for it felt like ever. And then I think earlier this week or over the weekend it got spoiled, and I was like, oh, that sucks.
No.
For WandaVision, I only watched the trailer and I didn't see anything else, and I think I'm going to try and take that approach. I take that approach with Star Wars, but for Marvel I don't, because generally I kind of know what the story is about anyway. Yeah. But I'm going to try and transition that over to the Marvel side of things too, and just watch the first trailer, and that's it.
It's nice because the first one, it'll gives you a little bit of a taste, but at that point they're not ready to give the whole story away. Right. So it's like a perfect little bite-sized kind of intro to the movie, and then every other trailer after that pretty much just shows you everything. So
well, Marvel's new thing now is throwing out fake scenes in their trailers.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially with Infinity War, with that money shot of everybody storming through the forest with Hulk, and Hulk wasn't in the movie outside the first act.
10 minutes.
It's Marvel's Cinematic Universe, the infinite search for Easter eggs, and so maybe they recognize that and they just throw these fake scenes in.
Yeah.
Is it this? Is it that?
And honestly, with the amount of CGI that goes into it, like maybe that was a scene, like that was going to be an option, but then they're like, nah, we'll just switch it up.
Yeah. Or we're saving it for the 5-hour director's cut.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, are you stoked for Justice League, or The Snyder Cut?
I am. Yeah, I am. I feel that Justice League, I don't know what you guys said, but I found it to be very disjointed, and I actually found like you could see what parts were Joss Whedon's parts and what parts were Zack Snyder's, and I feel that just having it all be Zack Snyder will flush it out a bit more, and I think
Stuff
make
in
it
slow
a bit
motion
better.
was Zack Snyder, and everything at regular speed was Joss Whedon.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if Henry Cavill's CGI mustache will be joining the party for the new release.
I
Hopefully,
feel
not.
like it has to. I mean,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah. Give its own name in the credit.
yeah.
No,
I have
I
only seen Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 84 of the DCEU. I have not watched Batman v Superman. I've not seen Justice League or Aquaman.
I found it okay. It was all right. If you're gonna watch Batman, it probably sounds like you're not going to if you haven't seen it already. But if ever
I've
you
seen
were,
some of it because I saw someone did a fan edit where they edited Man of Steel with the storyline of Superman from Batman v Superman, and I think they called it Man of Tomorrow, and it was a good arc, like combining those two movies. So that's probably the extent of what I would see.
I watched the director's cut of
I've
Batman
heard that
v
is
Superman,
better,
and it's
sure.
much better. It's longer, obviously, but it was a lot better. But yeah, like I'm looking forward to it, and I hope that I would love nothing more for DC to have the success that Marvel has with their cinematic universe. I think it would be better for everyone that enjoys those types of movies and reads comics and whatnot. So it's I'm not a Marvel guy or a DC guy when it comes to movies. I want them both to be successful. So I'm hoping that the Justice League that Snyder re-releases will do that and kind of reignite that universe. And we'll see, though. I think it's coming out in April or May.
Yeah,
I think it's
so.
just it's a couple months away.
Sometime in the spring. Yeah, on HBO, hopefully. HBO Max. Yeah, that's it.
That's right.
Yeah.
You watch any of the DC TV properties like Doom Patrol or Titans?
Titans, I'm about 3 episodes into season 2. I like it. I think they sometimes try to swear just for the sake of swearing. And it's like
my feeling on Logan.
Yeah, that was absolutely Logan.
Yeah,
especially when he loses his shit on that truck.
Yeah, and just tell the story. But I've enjoyed it. I'll probably finish it. And then I like the Arrowverse. As silly as some of the stories might be, I enjoy it. The only one that I don't really watch are the Legends of Tomorrow, but Flash I like to watch with Oliver, my oldest son, and Arrow too when it was on.
Where did you think Flash lost its way?
Is it bad to say that I don't think it's lost its way?
To me, the first 2 seasons were absolute, like, just phenomenal, and I just found that it's maybe just because it's longer now and it's kind of the same story retread over and over and over.
Yeah,
to me, I would say
like
when you put Iris and Barry together on most shows, that's usually the downfall of, like, because you want them together, but then they get together, and then you're like, well, it was better when they weren't. It's like Jim and Pam.
No, I hear what you're saying, and it's kind of like, yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
But I hear what you're saying in that, Arrow as an example, like every season it was some other archer that was the main bad guy. I was like, holy crap! I don't know if you can swear on the podcast or not.
Swear all you want.
Yeah.
That season with
as long as you're swearing for the sake of swearing, that's
right.
Loud.
But with Flash, the reason why I still haven't gotten tired of it is that Green Lantern's my favorite character, and then Flash is a very close second, or a very close second to that. And so I enjoy watching it more for his rogues gallery and the supporting characters that they show in the TV show. So that's part of the reason why I like it as much as I do, and I haven't seen it deviate from that all too much. So,
although there are varying degrees on the alternate universe Harrison Wells. Yeah,
that's true. But he, they needed a way to keep him in the show.
I know,
right?
I get it. Yeah,
and he's got some acting chops. The guy is from Ottawa too. Not sure if you knew that, but yeah, he's from Ottawa. I don't remember his real name, but yeah.
Shit, I'm spacing on his last name.
Tom. It's Tom.
It's Tom.
Tom Cavanaugh. Tom
Yeah.
Cavanaugh. Ding ding ding. Yeah. But yeah, they need to keep him in the show. But yeah, like the 52 different versions and and whatnot can get a bit tiresome at times, but I enjoy it.
So anything that you're reading now that's folks should check out?
Yeah. It's funny because I was thinking about it, and I didn't want to come in with like, yeah, you should read this and this and this and this and this and this and this, and I'll just keep it very simple. And I was just, the last year, I decided not to pick any series that have been ongoing for more than a year. I figured whatever started in 2020, I think would be good in case anyone's interested. So I'm holding here Firepower. This is issue 1, but it actually was preluded by a trade that came out first, and it's written by Robert Kirkman, the same Robert Kirkman that brought you The Walking Dead. Yeah, The Walking Dead. We all know who he is, and it's drawn by Chris Samnee, who is, next to Scotty Young, my favorite artist that's out there. Chris Samnee, he's also worked on Captain America and Daredevil. He's got a very fluid style, very colorful style. And so it's a story about this guy, Owen Daniels, who is in search of something greater, kind of like Bruce Wayne was in Batman Begins. And he ends up finding this temple of the Flaming Fist and discovers that he has the power of fire that he can, where's the camera here? That he can exert when he's doing his martial arts. But he decides to give that life up and go back to America and start a family of his own. And then it really goes into this rival temple that's trying to steal the power. They come and try and take him and steal the power from him, and it's him and his family trying to fight back. So, but it's very good. I would highly recommend it. Issue 7 just came out about 2 weeks ago, so it's still relatively new. As a matter of fact, I think the trade for the first six issues was also released recently, so you can pick up 2 trades and read them and be caught up in no time. And then
it's a better version of season 2 of Iron Fist.
Yeah, 100%. Right?
Why do we always keep ending up talking about season 2 of Iron Fist?
It's hard not to, right? But I would say too, like the art is phenomenal from Chris Samnee, but Robert Kirkman and his writing is also phenomenal. Just very timely. The jokes are there. Like it's very natural. It feels like a natural read, natural conversation between the characters. So I would definitely recommend that. Can I recommend one more?
Absolutely. Who next?
Excellent. So Deceased is written by Tom Taylor and drawn by Trevor Hairsine. Trevor Hairsine's been in the industry for quite some time. So there's 3 volumes that came out for Deceased. Deceased first came out in 2019, and the 3rd volume, which is just ending, actually the issue comes out tomorrow, issue number 6, comes out, and it's called Dead Planet. But Deceased is essentially zombies infect the DC universe, but what's great about it is that it's not tied to any continuity. It's almost like an Elseworlds tale, so it's just its own story happening in its own little corner of the universe. It's not directly affected by what's happening in the current continuity of DC. And so because of that, you see some characters affected by the outbreak that you wouldn't normally see. The art is phenomenal. But essentially Darkseid infected Cyborg with this virus and boom tubes him back to Earth. And then Cyborg integrates the virus with the internet. And then so anybody that happens to look at a screen gets infected by this virus, and then they just go crazy. And so it's just the heroes trying to stop the virus. And then it's almost like a trilogy. So you have this first 6 issues, and it kind of explores what happened in the early days of the virus hitting Earth. And then the next 2 kind of 5 years later and a few years later, and coming back and trying to solve it. But it's great. I would recommend it.
Is it better than Marvel Zombies?
Yeah, it really is. I was thinking about that tonight because it's, if you were familiar with Marvel Zombies, you'd be like, oh, been there, done that. But I think what's different is there were legitimately times when I would turn a page reading an issue and just be utterly surprised, which I feel is hard to do in a paper format. Yeah. But I'd turn a page and you'd kind of lose your mind a little bit seeing what would happen to a particular character. but yes, it's better. I think the Marvel Zombies, I think, in my opinion anyway, was focused more on the art than the content. Like Arthur Sednum, I can't remember pronounce his last name, but he drew the art for Marvel Zombies, and I think it was really focused on, this is great art and whatnot, which is fine, dandy, but I found the content of Marvel Zombies wasn't as
it was very lacking.
Yeah, wasn't as in depth as Deceased. So, and it's a cool play on words. I mean, Deceased.
That's right.
From
That's what
DC
they're all about.
Comics. I mean, buy it for that.
That
So those are-
that storyline,
Exactly, right?
that storyline of just like being infected by what you see on the internet and stuff, like
Well,
that,
yeah, and
just
like
sounds like a
TV.
Black Mirror episode. Also, it sounds like 2020, but like that just seems like it would be a pretty fun and like somewhat relatable, not even with zombies and stuff, but like just getting stuck on the internet.
And no one's immune to it. And it's like zombies, but they're like raging. And it's it's such a great series. Like it really is. I would definitely recommend it to anyone.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, thanks so much for hopping on.
Yeah, no worries.
Absolutely have you back.
And if you guys ever do, definitely let me know. I'd be happy to join.
Right, we're always looking for conversation and stuff like this, and like we barely even scratched the surface of like your collection over there, all your meet ups with some of the greats.
That's true. Yeah, I'd be. You guys are doing it weekly, right? So
Yes, sir.
whenever you guys have a free spot to fill, let me know.
What's your collection Instagram account again?
Oh yeah, it's Comics Collector 613. And I decided I started it just maybe about a month or so ago. My regular Instagram account, it was beginning to be an Instagram account of either baseball posts or comic book posts, and I was like, you know what, I'll just start my own. And so I just decided that I would post pictures of the comics that I picked up that week, holy grails of mine, figurines of mine. I did a stat after 2020 just on the number of comics that I purchased that year and the breakdown of which publisher I bought the most from, and just anything and everything. I love everything that has to do with comics and action figures and whatnot. So I figured I would start it my own page. So Comics Collector 613.
Give it a follow.
Yeah.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. We'll talk again.
Yes. Thanks, guys. Take care.
You too.
So yeah,
It's fun.
that was interesting.
Are you typing again?
He's trying to follow on Instagram. At least it wasn't as frantic as trying to figure out when Google Maps.
When Ryan Stiles was born.
Also, that deceased thing, it made me think of, is that not the third act of Wonder Woman 84?
Yeah.
So we're going to shit on Iron Fist Season 2, and then we're going to keep going back to Wonder Woman 84.
It's a deep well that we can dig back into, so we will.
Yes, we got the Snyder Cut coming. 6 weeks, I think we'll have Godzilla and Kong. Warner Brothers is just throwing all this stuff out there.
Yeah.
As Ryan and I were talking about Mortal Kombat also coming too.
Yeah.
I
I
saw
don't think it needed a reboot, to be honest, but
Didn't we say all we needed to say with Annihilation?
no.
there was so much more story to be told.
Can you think of any other film, TV where you will have a movie end on a cliffhanger and come back with a completely different cast in the sequel?
Yeah.
I
No,
want to
you
say yes, but I can't think of it right now.
I guess
maybe
like,
not
oh shit, shit got real, and then boom, who the hell are these people?
Yeah.
And then and then Johnny Cage bites it in like the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, you're like, well, no need for me to keep watching.
Well, Reptile was okay-ish. I said he looked just like the other ones. He was
I
just
said
green.
ish.
Ish, damn it. So Ryan, Annihilation, that's your favorite, right?
No, I liked the first one. I remember renting the first one from like Showbiz Video on VHS and watching it one afternoon, and like that was.
I remember Showbiz. I used to rent video games, PlayStation games there all the time.
Yeah, I used to rent N64 games.
Wrestling games.
Renting.
Yeah, it pains me when you go on like iTunes or whatever and you see rent next to it and you're like, this isn't renting.
Yeah.
I can screen grab this and keep it. Yeah,
I'm very excited. I just want them to do it right, you know? Mortal Kombat.
Make it again.
Just yeah, it's as long as it's just not a huge whiff, I think I'll be happy with. Like obviously I'm going to be going in with extremely low expectations.
Would you watch that short that was done like 12 years ago? Michael J. White, anyone from Spawn, he was on that.
I think I must have. I'm sure I watched it. I'm sure I watched it. But yeah, I like that was not good either. Honestly, it's if they just
comparatively, it was better than Annihilation.
Yes, everything. Annihilation was absolutely the worst one.
Annihilation is the Iron Fist season 1.
Oh, God. And on that note, I think that should be our the thing. Like as soon as we hit 3 Iron Fist references, that's the end of the episode. we keep going until Iron Fist comes up 3 times. It's like Beetlejuice.
Yeah, as soon as you do that. Okay, did you have anything you wanted to recommend before we head off?
I don't.
No?
Quieter keyboards.
Keyboard silences.
Quieter keyboards / using the right mic.
Shall like to recommend his staff discount at Best Buy on webcams for Faceless Joe over there.
Yeah.
Don't like Clive?
I liked Clive circa 2006 when he was a running joke that we had.
Why can't you let me enjoy the past?
One thing
we don't need to take that away from him.
Yeah, okay. One thing I learned I thought was interesting because this is one of my all-time favorite movies. In 2010, as part of a Wall Street Transparency and Accountability Act, a rule was introduced which barred anyone from using secret inside information to corner the market, much like what the Duke brothers tried to do in Trading Places. It is known as the Eddie Murphy Rule. So for those who saw Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd, it's about the stock market, and these Duke brothers hire a guy to get information on frozen concentrated orange juice to drive up stock prices and pad their portfolios. I just thought it was funny. There's a rule in the stock market that's named after Eddie Murphy.
I think that's fantastic.
That's pretty great.
I love when rules are named after people.
Like we have the Iron Fist rule.
Oh, God.
Oh my God!
All right, we've surpassed our quota.
Is it going over when you're referencing it to what we talked about not doing anymore? Like, does a fourth negate the 3?
I don't think it negates.
Like, if you said Beetlejuice 3 times, and then you said Beetlejuice again, sure, he's gone, but you can still talk about him.
That's true. Like when's the cutoff?
I also like how not once in that movie is it referenced that it's Beetlegeist pronounced Beetlejuice, and yet the movie's spelt a completely different way in the box.
Yeah.
Just putting it out there. Ryan, what's up with you?
Like in general or today or?
busting out the Switch anymore? Or?
The answer is not much to both.
Whatever time period you're talking about, the answer is not much.
No, I still have to keep going on Donkey Kong 2. I kind of.
So we talked about that in September.
I know. I put it down and I forgot about it. I got through Donkey Kong 1. This always happens. I beat Donkey Kong 1, and then I get so hyped to play 2 and 3, and it never happens. I think I made it to the boss, the bee, and you have to be the parrot, and you gotta, I don't know, shoot coconuts at him, and I can't get past it because I'm old. And
just gotta remember, you gotta be the parrot. Be the parrot.
Boo. But yeah, that's where I am on my Switch.
It's just collecting dust for 5.5 months.
Yeah.
More or less. I think everybody's Switch is. Oh, did you see that it's like what in Japan or China? I think it was Japan. It was like owns 85% of the market there.
Yeah, it's still been the like top selling console in North America for like 3 years,
Which is still not going to change its life cycle, I don't think.
It's the best thing Nintendo's done in a hot while.
This is coming from a guy who had a Wii U.
I did have a Wii U. You know where that Wii U is now? I have no idea.
It's next to a Switch.
No, I think my sister has it. And then she also got a Switch, so I don't even
So
know.
it's- yeah, it-
Yeah.
It's like
Oh,
propping up a uneven table.
Pretty much.
I went the other way. I just pictured like a Family Guy-esque joke of like these old gaming systems under a bridge somewhere in a parked car. Cops pull up. It's doing unthinkable things.
With the Wii U.
Woo!
Yeah. Well, we're not going to do this with the Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo has class.
Yeah.
Wii U was a failed Switch precursor. Yeah, so that is open caller for this week on that unfortunate note. Instagram,
it's always the way.
Twitter, Facebook. That is at Open Caller Pod. Follow us on YouTube as well. YouTube.com/GoVNC for Clive Owen, Michelle Jeth, and Corey Willis.